It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble, 30 minutes of time-wasting fun coming your way. And I've come to the conclusion, all right? Write this down, everybody. Grab your seat, grab a pen, write this down. I have very little tolerance for people nowadays. I don't think I'm alone in this revelation or this conclusion. I think that, well, here's the thing. A&E, the TV network, has series dedicated to this, right? Customer wars, neighborhood wars, parent wars, what's the other one? Road wars. So the fact that you have 4 very distinct, right? Neighborhood fights, road rage things, customer rants in, stores or on airplanes, whatever it is. The fact that there's entire series dedicated to each one of these points goes to show that I'm not alone in this thought, that Now, I don't go to the extreme of what you see on those shows in terms of confronting people or screaming at them or coming at them with my phone and recording it. I don't do that. But I just find I'm already preemptively in my head not tolerating things. And so I'm going to explain what I mean. See, it's already making you think about things, right? You have these situations where you call the 800 number and you know that you're going to get some outsourced foreign call center agent that, doesn't speak your language, and it's going to be a 45-minute call when it should just be something quick and easy to resolve in 2.5 minutes, or what used to be 2.5 minutes back in the day. Now it's going to take up a big chunk of your afternoon. Your phone's probably going to be a low battery because you weren't expecting to have a 45-minute call, or, hasn't that ever happened to you? Right? Like you have a meeting at 2:00 and you're like, oh, you know what? I've got 20 minutes still. All right, I'm going to make this call to the customer service people for something totally unrelated. And then you're looking at the clock going, it's 1:58. My meeting starts in 2 minutes. Why am I still on the phone with this, stupid thing? So the intolerance of it all. That's what we're talking about on The Scribble, starting right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
JB here on The Scribble. So let's talk about intolerance, because at first I thought I'm just becoming this old curmudgeon. I'm not a grumpy person or miserable by any means. I think the way I remain happy and sane is by actually kind of removing myself from society for the most part. I've said before, because just to recap in case you haven't listened to the show before or you don't recall, I essentially retired at the age of 39. So, it's about 5 years now where, yes, I still host this show. Yes, I still own our companies, but I'm not. The big chunk of my workday was hosting these radio shows that, were just very, very time consuming, and they were a labor of love as well. I mean, I enjoyed them, but after a while, 15 years, it runs its course and you're kind of just tired at that point. And so, so then you just say no. And also to my husband, he's a fitness model and I manage his career. So, but he makes a lot of money for the jobs that he gets. So he doesn't have to work, a 40-hour week. he can work 1 day a month and basically make more than enough income, for what he needs. But what we like now about this life that we have, because generally most days we wake up, this is absolutely true, we wake up at about noon some day, most days where it's around 12 o'clock noon, we wake up and we ease into the day, but we do our running around in the daytime. That's if we grocery shopping or to a store, like we tend to go to a mall, actually, really, just because I think what it is that there's not a lot of people there. So does that make us old? Okay, fine. But again, I just have this lack of tolerance for people. But it's everything. Back in the day when I would walk through the mall with one of my friends, Greg, I laugh because we would actually go every Monday. We would have lunch and we'd spend the afternoon together. And so I would be very, very obvious if somebody was walking too slowly in front of us, that I would just totally motor right around them. Just almost like you're changing lanes on the road in your car. And so I would totally pull out to the right, just right, and then still walk a mile faster than them, and then kind of stop as though just like you're passing a car on the road. So I would do that kind of jokingly to sort of, passive aggressively send a message like, hey, there's people behind you, like, speed the fuck up. Now I probably would be a little bit more obvious. That was pretty obvious to do that. But I'm saying, it might be a little bit more vocal now, where it's just like, fucking move, right? Like you kind of mutter something under your breath. And so that's where my intolerance has peaked. So at the mall the other day, this is kind of where this came about. I'm sitting there with my husband. We in the mall food court, or in the mall that we go to, the food court has 3 kind of different seating areas. There's one kind of just really big open air area, and then there's one that's sort of tucked away, almost kind of like an alcove kind of a thing, where there's more bench seating. So it's actually sort of, that's almost set up like a restaurant in that area. And I like going over there just because, again, it's kind of out of the way. There's less traffic. The only reason that you're coming in that area is to sit in that area. And so generally that's where people who maybe are on their lunch break from working in the stores, that's where they'll kind of sit, and it's quiet because pretty much everybody's just kind of hanging out on their phone, right? Like that's sort of the nice. But there were 2 men there the other day, and they were very loud talkers. It's not that they were loud in the sense of like, laughing and whatever. They just had very loud voices. Now, again, because this is sort of in like an alcove kind of an area, it's not that it's busy and loud and you need to speak louder. That's not the case at all. In fact, if they were observant of the environment, they would have noticed like, oh, it's actually really quiet here. Maybe we shouldn't be talking so loudly. And so what I do is, when they are talking loudly, I'm kind of making eye contact with them, almost to kind of acknowledge. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. I'm kind of giving them an indirect signal of, I'm looking at you because you're talking loudly, and maybe that'll get through. You know what I mean? I'm not shushing them. I'm not, giving them a scowl or anything. I'm just kind of looking at them with a blank stare. Again, hoping that they will come to the realization of, oh, okay, I'll use my indoor voice. There was no drinking. It's not like they were rowdy drunks, and it wasn't. They were just very loud, and so a part of me was kind of like that was getting to me, right? Like that was just sort of okay. And then eventually I'll talk with my husband or whatever. But again, you're still kind of like almost interrupted by these people who are 10 feet away. So the good thing is that I have a very stress-free life. So I could imagine, like, let's say that I worked in the mall and I was going there for my break, right? And that's, on your break from work, you kind of want to get away from people, right? You want to kind of get away from it all if you've had a shitty day working retail. So, so for me, I'm kind of like, whatever. Again, the big stress of my day is, where are we going for lunch? Truly, we don't have drama in our world. I would think that if I worked for somebody, if I had a job out in the world, that I would just, I think I'd be freaking out. Everything would just piss me off, I think. So instead, that's why I'm saying that we've removed ourselves from society, where we're not really involved So we go in the daytime when everybody else is at work or school or whatever it is, and there's minimal foot traffic. We don't have to deal with stupid people. We like that. So when everybody else who, when Friday afternoon rolls around and the traffic is nuts, we are heading back home when everybody is looking forward to going out Friday night or whatever it is. Well, no, we did our thing in the afternoon and now we're home for the night. And same thing on weekends. That's when you get stuff done, right? That's when you get the groceries or you do the shopping or the stuff. And so for us, it's kind of like we'll hide out for the weekend in the house. We're kind of doing the opposite now, where it's like, nah, we're not going to. We might go to an event or something, but even then, right? You go to a sporting event, you're going to have, the drunk behind you or the loud person or the person who's hogging the armrest or, and so it's those little things now that I just kind of find are really irritating me. As I said, I'm not confronting people. I'm not, stealing the armrest back from them and elbowing them or, I'm not doing that, but I just find like and I don't know, maybe would that make the situation better or worse? No, because I could end up being on one of those A&E shows then if I start confronting every single person who pisses me off. But what I'm saying is that's why I remove myself. I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to deal with it. There's a store that I go to that has the self-checkout. And I know that the staff prioritizes putting out stock as opposed to jumping on the register and helping people. Now, I don't know if that's instruction from them or from the like the bosses or the corporate office or whatever it is, or maybe they're just kind of like, you know what, it's not worth it dealing with people because people are assholes. Maybe that's what it is, and I don't blame them for feeling that way. But when I get dog treats and things from there, nothing really. It's essentially a dollar store, so. I already, when I'm walking into the store, so I'm maybe 20 feet away from it, right? Because I know, oh, that's right, I got to get some. So I already feel myself getting frustrated because I know what's going to happen. I already know it. I'm already predicting it. And I would say that I'm probably right 9 out of the 10 times that I've gone. There's going to be either a lineup at self-checkout, there's going to be no cashiers, or there might be one cashier, and that cashier is bouncing over to self-checkout to help people. So I am that type of person who I will find an employee down an aisle and say, can we get more cashiers up to the front? There's lineups. I'm not being a dick about it. I'm not, why isn't anybody on the count? I'm not doing that. I'm just discreetly going down the aisle and saying, hey, heads up. There's a lineup. Can we get another cashier? That's not unreasonable, right? But the fact that I have to do that, right? I think back to when I worked at Party City, and I've mentioned this story a few months ago, was we would be down an aisle putting out the stock or whatever it was. We would be so neurotic going up to the front all the time because we were paranoid that somebody would be standing there and waiting, and you didn't want to have somebody waiting 30 seconds, even a minute, a minute and a half or whatever. So you would maybe put 2 things on the shelf, and you're halfway down the aisle, and you would go all the way up to the front, see that there's nobody there, and then go back down, maybe put 2 more things. So you were getting your steps in. But what I'm saying is customers were first. The box of shit on the floor, that yes, it needs to go out, but it can wait. And that's just how customer service was. So I go into this store already dreading it, right? Already knowing that, hey, there's nobody at self-checkout right now as I'm walking in, but that's going to change. You do your time in the store, and then you come up, right? And now there's going to be the lineup. That always is what happens. And then the self-checkout is going to do that thing of, please wait for assistance. Unexpected item in the bagging area. Please wait for assistance. Please wait for assistance. Please wait for unexpected. And then you got to wait for somebody else to come and help you then. So it's not a matter of patience. I get that you have to wait in a line, but as I've said, I'm not standing in line to then do the work myself. I'll stand in line for an actual cashier. Fine. That's their job. I will wait but I'm not standing in line then to do the work as well. And so then I'm going to have to wait, because either that one cashier who's already with somebody is going to have to finish the transaction and then come and help me, or break away from that transaction and come and help me, and that's not fair to do to the customer that they're serving. And then, but they could do the decent thing and page somebody to come and, or just staff that area and have somebody come up to the self-checkout, right? So that's what I'm saying, is that it's that, I'm in that store for maybe a total of 5, well, maybe not even 5 minutes, really, depending on the lineup, I guess. But that's what I'm saying, is like I'm already trained now, right? As I'm walking towards, I'm already expecting a bad experience. If it doesn't happen, I guess maybe I'm surprised. But I think it happens almost every time without fail. So that's what I'm saying, is that it's because I know the stupid self-checkout is not going to work. There's not going to be enough cashiers up there, and I'm going to be now in a pissy mood. I'm going to be, maybe I do, say something out of impatience, at some point. But it's frustrating because you have no consideration for your customers as well. So it's not a matter of the directive from head office. It's a matter of your focus should be on the customers. So I feel that's terrible customer service. I might be inclined to say something to the staff that's ignoring me, right? That's not putting customers first. So, I mean, that's how I feel. Now, we're going to take a break. All right, so we're going to take a break, and I'll talk more about my intolerance of people on the Scribble right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
JB here on the Scribble. I find, again, we're still on the subject of intolerance, I find that I don't give people as much of a chance now. Yes, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has a screw up every now and then. But what I find, though, is, for instance, let's talk about pets. All right? Now, our dogs are 5 years old. So, and we've had them since they were absolutely the tiniest puppies ever. So it's not like they're new to our household. It's not like they're new to the routine of how our day goes. It's not like they've never, been in our house. It's not that they're new. They know the routine. They know the game. But I find, though, that I'm less tolerant when they do something that they know that they shouldn't. Because, again, they shouldn't be doing it. So it irritates me. I should not be still training you now that you're 5 years old and we've had this same routine or whatever forever, right? So when they, if they do something that's, I can't even necessarily, well, let's just say when we're out, walking, they know not to pull. They know the deal. But maybe some days either they're just, excited or whatever it is. And then it's usually the husky. The golden retriever is pretty good for walking. But again, sometimes it could be. And I just find no, you're not doing this. You're not dragging me down the street. This is not the first walk that you've gone on. It's not. We've done this literally hundreds of times. Let's see. You're 5 years old. We've probably done it. We've probably gone on a walk over 1,000 times because that's just how often we do it. Really. Yeah. If it's not pouring down rain or if it's not lightning or something out, then yes, we do that. We walk almost every day. So you when you're a puppy and it's your first couple walks, right, you get a pass because you've never been on a leash before. You don't know how it works, right? You don't know. But ours, the routine is we have the different routes that we take, but it's generally the same streets in our neighborhood, and they've been down them how many hundreds of times before. So there's no excuse for being rowdy on the leash and zigzagging to the left, right? Because we power walk. Our dogs are not the ones that have the 40-foot retractable leash and they're getting tangled up and they're peeing on everything. But no, it's a power walk. They know the deal. There's no stopping to pee on everything. You're on the sidewalk, you're not running on people's lawns, you're not on the boulevard, you're not, not dragging me down the street, you're not 10 feet behind us, you're side by side as we walk. That's just the deal. So when they, don't follow that, I feel like, yes, that, there's an intolerance there because you know the drill. And so I find that I don't give I was going to say people, they're dogs, but let's go back to the people thing. People don't get as many chances with me anymore. That could be whether it's somebody in my own personal life, but it's also like, the customer service thing. If you've screwed up or the company has, again, I'm trying to think of an example. You have to reach out to a company. Okay, here's a very good example. You heard before back in the day about working in an office that the turnaround time to reply to an email, 24 hours, right? Turnaround time of 24 hours. That's kind of how I always like to do it, was if you emailed me by noon, if you emailed me at noon today, then I need to at least reply by noon tomorrow. That's how I looked at it. Customer service would sort of be the same way. Generally, when you would call, your call was answered the same day. That was just sort of the expectation. That's the whole idea of a phone call. Or they would call you back, but generally it would be the same day. I have no patience for customer service taking 3 to 5 days just to respond to something. I understand emailing a company and you're not a customer and you're inquiring about something or you have a question or whatever. But if I've got a question about my account, or if I've got, a concern, you overcharged me or whatever it is, 3 days just to respond I just feel that's unacceptable. Again, given how many channels there are, phone, email, web form, social media DMs, whatever it is, 3 to 5 days of a response time. And I've actually found this. There were, 2 or 3 companies that are in the same industry that I was kind of looking up and considering being a customer. But I noticed, and one of them, they were a subscription platform for a service. And so I noticed that when, they'll show you the different plans, right? The Pro, the Platinum, the whatever, when you're subscribing to something, when you're signing up. And I noticed that under those checklists, in that grid of things, one of the features or the options was response time. Fast, faster, fastest. Fast was 3 to 5 days. Faster was 1 to 3 days. Fastest, that's where you're paying the most, was within 1 day. So you have to pay to get a timely response. Right away, I wrote off that company because this is why. Because I knew that I wouldn't have the patience to sit and wait 5 days just to inquire about something. Or once you have subscribed and now you're sitting and waiting for something to get fixed. We had something, by the way, this is an absolutely true story, a programming thing. I'm not going to get into it, but we needed the company to change the time zone. You've probably had that too, right? Where you're setting something up and it wants to know the time zone that you're in. We needed to change to Pacific because it was set to Central Time. You would think that's just a quick, simple thing, right? Remember when you were setting up your computer or whatever back in the day, right? You'd pick your time zone or your phone or whatever it was. It was just a couple clicks and you're done. We asked the company to do this on the 1st of the month. We just need the time zone changed. It took 13 days just to change a time zone. They didn't need to, reformat the account. They didn't need to it was part of it was a radio scheduling thing. So that's why the time zone was necessary. It was absolutely necessary. But again, something that you would think, now I don't know the internal setup, but again, just as a consumer, I'd be kind of like, it's changing the fucking time zone. Like, why is that? 13 days. So, do you blame a customer for getting impatient with that? I can understand going and saying, hey, JB, that's a little impatient that you expected it to be done within 1 hour of you putting in the request. But 13 fucking days. Tell me I'm not unreasonable on that one. 13 days to change a time zone. Could you imagine if it was a very, a critical billing issue or something, right? Now, if this was that platform that I told you about, fast, faster, fastest customer service, could you imagine, right? If I wanted to know how long is it going to be, I have to do that every 5 days until I'm going to wait 5 days just to find out what's happened with the time zone request. No thanks. And I'm gonna pay you more. That's just to answer the question. That's not even to fast track the service requests. That's just the response time. That's just responding to me is 5 days. Tell me, send me an email. What is it? Live, L-I-V-E at jbonair.com. Live at jbonair.com. Am I just an old curmudgeon who has no patience, right? You always teach kids the patience, patience is a virtue. Patience. I'm sorry, but don't test my patience. This is the thing. I might come in with half patience, right? But you've got to earn the patience from me, I think, is where I'm at now. Right? Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the talk about like the respect thing. Fine, I come in respecting you, but you chip away at it. Well, now it's gone. And so that's kind of how I am when it comes to customer service things. I'll come in there with an open mind, whatever, but the first moment that you fuck around or screw up my account or I run into an issue or you blame me or you don't answer my question, you give me a template that doesn't answer it, it's totally irrelevant, and it's a runaround or it's, misleading or it's not quite clear or it's whatever. I go from 100%. I come into it open-minded. I come into it 100%. But just those examples that I just gave you, it knocks you down to at least 60%, maybe even 40%, depending on the offense. Yeah. Like I said, something has to get me there. Something's got to push me over the edge. Something has to prompt me to lose my patience. I'm not just an impatient person in general. I'm not. Like I said, our life is very basic and very straightforward and very simple and drama-free. There's no stress in my day. There's not anything that I worry about going through the day. I don't worry about my health. I don't worry about my finances. I don't worry about my safety. I don't worry about my relationship. I truly don't. So it's not that my life is just one big stress ball and I'm just on the edge over everything. Not at all. Again, I wake up at noon every day. How stressful is that life? Really, I do. So it's not that I'm just, pulled in so many different directions and I just can't keep things straight or whatever. Honestly, if I get more than 5 relevant emails in a week, that's a lot. There was one day, was it last week? Last Monday, because I remember thinking, oh my God, on Monday. I had a work business call scheduled at 4 o'clock and then one scheduled at 5:30. That was giving me hives. Seriously, I remember on Sunday, so the day before, I remember sitting there going, ooh, I've got 2 calls scheduled on Monday. They seem really close together. Oh, they seem really, I should make sure that I'm home at 4 o'clock for the first one. So if that's an indication of how my life is, that was, if you want to call that stressful, that was the stress of my Monday last week, was 2 calls in the same day. So no, my life is not one big, I'm grateful that I have the arrangement and the life that I have now. But like I said, it's very quick, I would give you 100% tolerance and patience at the very beginning. And you screw up and you do something wrong, fine, that might knock you down to 90 or 85%. And, you get a bunch of other chances after that. But if it's just one thing, and then because I'm already pissed off that, let's say it took a long time for you to get back to me, okay, great. So now you're down to 60. And then maybe your reply is an irrelevant template response. You've just lost now another 20% in that one interaction. So it might, on the receiving end, let's say the customer service representative who's on the receiving end is like, whoa, this guy's already up, he's flying at 60 miles an hour already. But you have to realize there's the frustration of the time length. And then secondly, I waited all this time to get a non-response, right? I waited all this time to get something that doesn't help me in the slightest. So now there's the frustration for those 2 things, and now I'm replying going, oh, and now I've got to wait another 3 days then to hear back about this. I've got to wait 3 days to now tell you actually didn't answer my question, and this is still unresolved. Now you're down to 40% because of those 2 instances of your time delay and not answering a question. And now me going and saying, now I'm starting this loop all over again. Now I've got to wait 3 days and see that, are you actually going to address what I'm telling you on this next go round? And so that's where, yeah, I have no patience to drag this out for 10 days just to get a simple response. So just like the time zone thing. It wasn't even a matter of the response time of doing it. It was a matter of actually just fixing it. Just doing it. So with no communication, not letting me, of course I'm then going to just now lash out at the person who initially had taken that request from me, right? Maybe they're not the one who's actually changing the time zone themselves, but that's an interaction that you had with the customer. Hey, just wanted to give you a heads up, we're still working on it. That's fine. I might even accept that. I'm not unreasonable. I'm not. But if you don't communicate with me and keep me in the loop of things, then we have the problem. So tell me your thoughts on this. Is it the customer service now that is just lacking that kind of makes you want to? And also, too, I've also found that at some points I just go and say, you know what, I don't even want to reach out to the company because it's just going to frustrate me. It's just going to be a piss off. It's going to be an hour-and-a-half conversation that I'm going to have to repeat myself, right? Because they're not going to put me through to the right person first. So I'm going to explain my entire story. They're going to go and say, I can't help you, but let me transfer you. Then you're going to have to explain it all over again. They might not even be the right department, so then you get transferred again. And then all I really wanted to know was, when is my subscription renewing? Or whatever it is. It could be the most basic of things that, there's not a website that you can log into your account and see, right? So you kind of need their help anyway. Or again, a customer has a question. That's just the nature of doing business. So, but I don't know why companies have sort of made it almost impossible for customers to reach out and get help now, right? It's all these tutorials, it's all these knowledge bases, and that's another thing. No, I just want to be able to call in, talk to somebody, get the issue resolved. I don't need to. Now I'm tasked with finding the answer myself. To me, that's not customer service. That just goes and says, we don't have time for you. Figure it out on your own. So again, now if it takes me forever to find the contact us button on your website, well, now I'm going to be frustrated and get, maybe I'll even include that in my email and go, why was it so difficult? Why did I have to click through 6 different pages just to find, a way to fill out this form to email you? So it could have been a simple thing to reach out initially, but now I'm going to add that just because, why are you hiding? You don't want us to contact you. Send me an email. Again, live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com. So do you think this is an age thing? Do you think it's just society that people are just annoying? Do you find that you want to be away from, do you want to just get away from people as soon as possible? Is that kind of where things are headed for you? It absolutely is for me. And so now we are out of time, so I'm going to wrap this up. But I look forward to your messages. I look forward to them. I really do. I enjoy when you disagree with me in a smart way. But if you disagree by just, oh, you're such an asshole, whatever, well, I don't take that seriously, right? But if you disagree with me and put me in my place in a very eloquent way, I like that. All right. There's the challenge for you this week. See if you can do it. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up The Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and @thescribbleshow.com. Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter @The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.